What are some signs of trauma responses and triggers? I will share how to respond to victims of trauma and how victims can respond to others at the end of this video. Today I'm featuring an African violet. It is nothing exceptional. It is not blooming and it's got a withered leaf because I burned a candle too close to it. And this is kind of a sign of when you go through trauma. You got some damage, you don't feel exceptional, you don't feel great about yourself. But there's potential, and there's new leaves coming up on the inside here. Like, it fits with this video. So I hope you enjoy that, and I will get on with the video now. Victims with complex trauma, or C-PTSD, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder, act the way they do because of their behaviors deeply ingrained in survival mechanisms developed during prolonged, inescapable, or repetitive trauma, often in childhood, but also, as in my case, well, I did have childhood trauma, but the predominant reason I have C-PTSD is because of abusive narcissistic relationships as an adult. So it's not just childhood. These reactions such as hypervigilance, emotional numbing, people-pleasing, or either known as fawning, or freezing, were once essential for safety and to survive, and have become maladaptive in safer environments, creating a vicious cycle where the brain remains stuck in the state of high alert, which can cause some health conditions like high cortisol, irregulating your hormone levels, making it difficult sometimes to lose weight, as in my situation. Hi, my name is Maria, and I'm studying to become a life coach, specializing in narcissistic abuse and trauma recovery. I hope my videos are helpful, informative, and validating for you, whether you are presently in or have been in a narcissistic abusive relationship, or maybe you have a friend or family member that presently is in or has been in a narcissistic abusive relationship, or maybe you have a friend or family member that is a narcissist, a boss, a colleague, a roommate. It does not have to be a romantic relationship. So there is a breakdown of why these behaviors exist in someone that's a victim of complex trauma. The nervous system is stuck in survival mode. Hypervigilance or overreacting because they have experienced ongoing danger. The nervous system is wired to detect threats anywhere. This causes them to constantly scan for danger, making them on edge even in safe situations. And I'll just add something. I've noticed with me when I've been asked to close my eyes, like when I'm working on some issues in my life and kind of digging into myself, it feels unsafe sometimes to close my eyes. So if you see someone that cannot close their eyes when they are supposed to, like in prayer or whatever, it's because of this, the nervous system, and feeling unsafe. The freeze or shutdown. When fight, flight, or flight has failed, the body learns to freeze or shut down. It's hypoarousal to protect themselves. Dissociation is spacing out, or other known as spacing out, when experiencing overwhelming, terrifying, or triggering situations or pain that the mind may separate itself from the body, leading to feelings of being in a dream or gaps in memory. You may have memory loss. That is a sign of trauma, deep trauma, adaptation to childhood neglect or abuse. The fawn response, many victims learn that pleasing or complying with the abuser was the only way to minimize pain. In adulthood, this manifests as extreme people-pleasing, inability to set boundaries, and ignoring their own needs to keep others happy. Oh, have I struggled with that in my life, but I have made myself get to the point where if I want people to respect me, I need to stop people-pleasing and set boundaries. It's a respecting of myself, and it has taken a while. So if you are struggling with that, give yourself time and be kind to yourself. There's the false self-creation. Children in abusive homes may create a false self to earn love or avoid punishment. In adulthood, they may struggle to know who they truly are, behaving like an actor to feel safe. The chaos addiction. I understand that one. Because calm and safety is unfamiliar, a chaotic, high-stress environment feels like home. They may inadvertently trigger or seek out inability for example, in relationships, because it is what they know. So with me, I still struggle with this. I'll be real about it. I'm not as addicted. I was addicted to chaos. I'm not as much anymore, but it's very hard for me not to be busy and constantly working or doing something. And even my time, my free time, my self-care is scheduled. I feel more in control. And I need to feel safe with just doing nothing. It's definitely an issue that can last for years. But I have worked in self-care into that time. Profound structural changes in cognition, and self-view. Negative self-view, because the trauma was interpersonal, often caused by caregivers, not always though, so don't rule yourself out if you don't fall into this. Victims tend to believe they are fundamentally bad or defective or responsible for the abuse. Oh my, I have experienced that. After being in abusive relationships, and it wasn't a caregiver, it was a boyfriend who constantly criticized me, I believed I was bad and no good. And I had believed for years that no one really wanted me. I was repulsive and undesirable. Very sad. Toxic shame, a deep sense of shame, causes them to hide, isolate, or feel different from others. Absolutely. Memory gaps. Ongoing trauma can cause fragmentation of memory, making it hard to form coherent story of the past. This often leads to them questioning their own reality. Absolutely, like I had said earlier, the trauma can cause you to have memory loss if it's very traumatic. Difficulty with emotion regulation and relationships. Explosive reactions. Lacking the ability to regulate emotions due to the lack of a stable, nurturing environment. They may experience intense outbursts of anger or deep, prolonged sadness. When I left my worst abusive relationship, I absolutely experienced this. I had rage and anger. I shouldn't say I couldn't control myself. I could. Everybody can. You can't say that. But there was a lot of trauma. It's just complex. I don't have that problem anymore. I've gotten control of myself. Trust issues. Having been hurt by those who were supposed to protect them, they often operate under the assumption that everyone is untrustworthy, leading to severe trust issues. So basically, and this happens with a lot of women, and I talk to single women, and a lot of them say this, and I can understand why. I don't want to have a man in my life anymore. They seem to be all bad. And this is kind of the same issue. I looked at supposed to be, in my mind, that a boyfriend was there to protect you, or a husband. That's normal. Not with abusive narcissism. So it broke down the trust, and I have wondered if I'll ever find a good guy. I haven't yet, but I have more hope for it. I do believe they're out there. There's a lot of bad ones, but there are also some good ones. Even my therapist told me that. She says, I counsel them, and they're afraid to be in relationships because they don't want to get hurt again, so they stick to themselves, and they're hard to find. So hopefully that encourages you that there are still good ones out there, but they kind of hide because there's been a lot of hurt going around. And more and more these days, people are becoming more and more selfish. And so it's just the signs of the times, I guess. It's unfortunate. The golden rule should be practiced: do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. People-pleasing and self-betrayal. To manage a threat, a child might learn that being overly compliant or meeting others' needs is the only way to avoid harm. This manifests in adults as losing their own voice to make others happy. I have seen this. I've even done that in the past. Love-addicted or abusive dynamics. They may be attracted to toxic or abusive situations because it feels familiar, or they may feel a strong, painful loyalty to the abusers. I was love-addicted. I decided I had enough is enough of relationships like that. So I educated myself so I could see it from afar. Well, I learned a lot about it. That's the YouTube channel. Now I want to help others. And it felt safer. To me, it was that control was love. It's not at all. It's not love. Behavior or cognitive adaptations. High-risk behaviors. To feel alive or to quiet entertained, they might engage in reckless behavior, self-injury, or substance abuse. Don't judge people if they're involved. I believe people are involved in substance abuse. There's bigger issues there. It's not that they just choose, I want to be a drug addict or whatever it may be. There's bigger issues involved. Trouble planning for the future. Because they have been trapped in survival mode, they may live in the present, struggling with long-term goals or feeling hopeless about their future. I have felt hopeless many, many times. It has happened. Behaviors are not a sign of being broken, but rather of being adaptable. These individuals adapted to survive a dangerous world, and their actions are the lingering, protective, but often unhelpful strategies for survival. And I hope that somebody's watching this that doesn't understand complex trauma, and I hope this helps you understand more. This is one of the reasons I have my YouTube channel. I want to inform others, the general public, so they know how to cope with people. Because I have been greatly invalidated by people in the past that did not understand. So I'm going to talk to you now about how to respond to someone who does not understand your complex trauma. Understanding complex trauma requires a balanced self-protection and, if you choose, education, like I had done. Because complex trauma often stems from chronic, repeated, or interpersonal situations, it can be hard for those with a standard or no trauma background to comprehend. There are strategies and scripts for responding, characterized by the level of intimacy you have with that person. Simple analogies to educate, if you choose. If the person is safe but just ignorant, use analogies to explain how your brain works. This will help them understand. Here are some examples. The smoke alarm example. C-PTSD is like having a smoke alarm that never turns off, even when there's no real danger. My brain keeps reacting as if there is. Software problems. It's like a computer with too many tabs open, always running, never shutting down, which makes it hard to focus and feel calm. Broken leg. Imagine trying to run a marathon with a broken leg. I'm dealing with invisible injuries from the past that make daily life harder, even if I look fine. And I will say, I heard some psychologist say that has dealt with a lot of trauma, and he said being abused, well, in this situation it was specifically, he specialized in infidelity and betrayal trauma and that kind of thing. And when you have faced betrayal trauma, it's like going through a major car accident and getting paralyzed, but it's all emotional. That really puts a vivid picture. The next is flashbacks as time travel. When I'm triggered, it is not just remembering the past. It's like my mind travels back and re-experiences it, making it feel like it's happening right now. Setting boundaries when they are invalidating. So here are some more examples of what to say to people. If someone says, just move on, or it wasn't that bad, you do not need to justify your pain. Use these firm but polite responses. I understand that's your perspective, but my experience was different. I need you to respect that. Or another one is, I am not looking for advice on how to fix this. I just need support and understanding. Another one is, I am not comfortable discussing the details of my past, but I am comfortable telling you what I need right now. Another one is, I am not going to discuss this with you. And yet another one, my feelings are valid regardless of whether you understand them. Explaining your needs and focusing on the behavior instead of explaining why the trauma. That's none of their business. They don't need to know that. Explain what you need from them. When I am triggered, this is an example, when I am triggered, I tend to withdraw. Please don't take it personally. I just need time to get back to center. Another example, I'm having a hard day with my trauma. Could we just do something distracting like watching a movie? Another example, it would really help me if you could be patient when I'm having an emotional, irrational reaction to something small. So protecting your energy when they are not understanding. If the person is not safe, or if you are tired of explaining, here are some examples of how you can respond. I realized that my trauma was too complex to explain to people who haven't experienced it. I'm going to talk to my therapist about this instead. Use the information diet. You do not owe anyone your story. You can keep conversations superficial with people who cannot handle the complexity of your experience. And there's the famous gray rock method. If they are pushy, respond with non-committal, boring answers. Okay, I see, interesting, until they change the subject. You can use this not just with narcissists, but people that don't get it. And trust me, there are plenty of them that don't understand me. The checklist for responses. Validate your own experience. You do not need their approval for your trauma to be real. Keep it brief. Don't have to over-explain anything. It's your right to keep things private if you do feel unsafe. Identify safe people. Only share intimate details with those who have shown they can handle it with compassion. I have those few people around me. It's like the very close inner circle of friends that I feel safe with. And even sometimes they hurt without meaning to, and I know that. Focus on the present. If the past is too painful to explain, tell them what you need to feel safe right now. And it'd be a good idea too if someone says something that they're well-meaning and they say something to you, but it really is invalidating and making it hard for you to say, I understand you're really trying to help me and I appreciate that, but what you said was not helpful right now. And I appreciate your support and your friendship. The sandwich method. If you liked my video and find it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. It greatly helps my channel grow, which is what I need, and it's free for you. And if it's informative and helpful, please do all those things. And if you have someone in your life that has complex trauma or C-PTSD, and let me know about it and how you've responded, or if this is helpful. If you are with someone with PTSD or C-PTSD, let me know how you feel and how, if you've been misunderstood, and how you can respond better, or what you have done and what you haven't done. I really like to hear your stories. It also helps my channel, and it's absolutely free. Responding to victims of PTSD or complex trauma requires a trauma-informed approach focused on safety, trustworthiness, and empowerment. Key actions include listening without judgment, respecting their pace, maintaining constant routines to foster security, and engaging in professional help. Avoid pressuring them to talk, minimizing their experience, or forcing disclosure. Now, this part is for people that want to don't have complex trauma and want to understand how to respond to others with it. So key principles for responding: prioritize safety and trust, create a predictable, non-judgmental environment, be consistent in your actions to help rebuild a sense of safety. Listen attentively without offering unsolicited advice, like I was just talking about, or judgment. Be prepared to hear the same story multiple times as a part of their healing process. And let me tell you, I have done that. I have talked and talked and talked. How I deal with my emotions, some people are different, is I need to talk it out, but I need to have someone safe. And if I cannot have someone safe, it is very difficult for me, and I cannot heal. It's like thinking about having a bunch of garbage inside of you, and you just got to get it out. That's what it's about. Validate and normalize the situation. Acknowledge their feelings without dismissing their experience. Avoid phrases like, it could have been worse. I tell you, let's not compare who's worse and who isn't. That and what they've gone through, that is not helpful for anyone. Respect the person's boundaries. Do not pressure the person to talk or share details before they are ready. Allow them to control the pace of interaction. This is also very important. Foster independence. Empower them to make their own decisions, as trauma removes the sense of control. Be patient. Recovery is not linear. Symptoms may fluctuate. I personally seen that it's been about 3 or 4 years since I had been in a narcissistic relationship. And it's up and down. I think I've dealt with stuff, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of stuff comes up again in my life. I'm still healing. I am open to saying that. Supporting someone with complex trauma often requires a focus of stabilization and self-regulation before pressing specific memories. Focus on the present. Help them stay grounded in the current moment rather than dwelling in the past. Encourage professional support. Get suggested evidence-based trauma, like trauma-focused therapy. And really, it's very important to seek out a therapist or counselor that specializes in trauma and complex trauma. If you don't go to a therapist that doesn't specialize in it, it actually can make it worse. I personally had experienced that. Identify triggers. Learn what triggers their symptoms. For example, crowds, certain noises, or seeing certain cars. That's what it was with me with exes. If I saw a car like theirs, it triggered me. For a while, not anymore. To help them feel secure. So I will tell you now what to avoid telling someone with complex trauma. Do not criticize their coping methods or decisions. Avoid forcing them to disclose details. We kind of covered this earlier, but this is a simple breakdown. Never suggest they get over it or move on. If you are concerned about a loved one, you can help by encouraging them to connect with a mental health professional who specializes in complex trauma. And I want to tell you that it is some of these helpful hints I said, and what to say and what not to say and all that. I'll leave them in the comments in the description as well, so that if you want to review it or refer back to it, it will be there for you. I have videos on narcissistic abuse does not define you, finding solutions for stress, reclaiming yourself, trauma responses, and managing them, and the truth about complex trauma. Have you found it hard to understand the ins and outs of complex trauma? Whether you have trauma or someone that just wants to understand it, watch my video on the truth about complex trauma. I will see you in that video.